this is what I really wanted to talk about today. Before we get too into the weeds with all of the drama, with the rumors, with the societal and the cultural stuff, we got to talk about these New Orleans Pelicans, man. The New Orleans Pelicans, at the time of this recording, they are 8-18. They are first in the Western Conference. They have rattled off 7 straight victories. Now they go into, I believe they play the Utah Jazz Tuesday night, I believe, which is the night that I'm recording. They have a back-to-back with them Tuesday and Thursday. So the potential for them to stretch this lead out to this winning streak out to 8, especially because, New Orleans is playing incredible basketball. Utah's a great team, but I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with New Orleans. Now, the one thing that jumps off the sheet to me when I look at the box score is the Pelicans are on this stretch with no Brandon Ingram and no Herb Jones. Brandon Ingram has not been around for any of these 7 games. Herb Jones has missed 5 of these 7 games, the most recent 5. And when you look at how this roster is constructed, when you look at the potential of this roster, and especially when you look at how they pushed Phoenix to 6 games in the postseason last year, 2 of their most prominent pieces, aside from Zion, who wasn't healthy last year. Remember that. Their 2 of their more prominent pieces was Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones. Brandon Ingram, of course, for all of this that he does on the offensive end, being one of the most polished scorers in the league, being a legitimate 3-level scorer who can get to the free throw line, who can handle the rock, who can play pick and roll. He is vital to what they do on offense. And then Herb Jones, whose defensive impact I don't believe can be properly articulated. Watching him, I believe he was a rookie last year as well. I mean, still, to be this young and to not only be able to go step for step with some of the elite players in the NBA, because Herbert Jones is without a doubt New Orleans' best perimeter defender. He's the guy who draws all the elite matchups against Kevin Durant. He draws all the elite guards. He's going up against Luka, Dame, D-Book, guys like that. His instincts, his discipline, his ball skills, everything about Herb Jones does not point to him being only 24 years old. And maybe you could attribute some of that to him being a little bit older than most rookies. I mean, a 23-year-old rookie is pretty old. Like, they are teams aren't drafting guys who spend 4 years in college and only come out at 21, which is still crazy young. But for this guy to be 23 and again guarding the opponent's best offensive player is tremendous. And more importantly, that's not the type of production that you can just easily replace. And yet, New Orleans has been without these 2 guys and looks as good as they've ever looked. I'd suffice to say. They are currently 5th in offensive rating, 3rd in defensive rating, and 1st in net rating. It actually changed as of the games last night. When I was doing the research for this when I was doing the research for this segment, New Orleans was 2nd in net rating, but now they're plus 6.9 per 100 possessions. 3rd in points per game scored and 8th in points per game allowed. It is actually like super crazy. This is way off topic, but they are allowing fucking 110 points per game and are the 8th best defense. This is certainly not your father's defense, or this is certainly not your father's NBA, and it is sure as shit not your grandfather's NBA, unless your grandparents are older, like all of mine are, and they were watching basketball in the 60s when teams were getting like 137 possessions. But obviously, we cannot talk about New Orleans without talking about Zion, and he is the catalyst that makes this team go, without a doubt. Averaging 25 and 7, shooting 61% from the field, shooting 36% from 3, albeit he's only attempted like 12 threes all season long. 5 of 14 from 3, not bad. Shooting 72% from the free throw line. Now, I haven't watched Zion religiously, and I know that there are people who cover the Pels who are way more well versed in Zion's game. But one thing that has really impressed me since Zion has come into the NBA is he has grown so much more comfortable with the ball in his hands and he's grown more comfortable with the ball in his hands for extended periods of time. When he was coming out of Duke, he played, or even when he was at Duke alongside RJ Barrett, played a lot of off the ball, worked off screens, backdoor cuts, catching lobs. All of those are still a tremendous part of Zion's game. And his ability to play off the ball only makes New Orleans more dynamic as an offense. But he is like a legit shot creator now for himself. When he was a rookie, I just checked these numbers shortly before logging on here, or logging on. How old am I? Fucking 70. I just checked his numbers shortly before going live, or getting ready to do this shit. And when he was a rookie, I want to say like 70 to 75% of his shots were assisted, which, you would kind of expect. He's new. He doesn't really have great ball skills. He's not that elite of a ball handler, doesn't have a lot of moves to go to in the post. And he was still trying to figure out where he fits in the modern NBA. Because when you have a guy like Zion, who's built like Larry Johnson, but doesn't have the requisite skill set of a lot of forwards in today's NBA, it is a little bit of a pain in the ass trying to get him to integrate into the offense seamlessly. So as a rookie, plays a lot off the ball. As a sophomore, becomes more comfortable handling. And now this year, the dude, Zion is a legitimately frightening shot creator. He just has all of the necessary skills to dominate his defenders. He can put the ball on the deck. He's got great dexterity. He's got great agility. He's got excellent body control. All of these finesse aspects to his game. It's not something that you would expect from a dude who literally looks like he fucking ate Larry Johnson. He's like 6'7", 260, and he's just so deft. He's so grateful. He's so graceful, like stringing together dribble combos like he's Damian Lillard. Okay, maybe not he's like Damian Lillard, but stringing together dribble combos like no one really expected him to. And then of course, it doesn't help that he does have the size to play power forward, and he can put his shoulder down and just kind of bulldoze his defenders. Of course, that's not something that the referees are going to let him get away with all of the time, especially because he is so much bigger than so many guys who are defending him. But it's a part of his game that, you know, was almost, it was really the easiest thing for him to revert to, is just putting his head down, attacking the cup. But when you're able to move east and west with as much efficacy as you are to move north and south, it only puts more pressure onto the defense, because although you can argue that three-point shooting is Zion's only weakness, he doesn't need a three-point shot to be effective, because the defense is simply not going to sag off him that far. And they're not going to do that because he has the ability to hit the three. This is not like Ben Simmons we're talking about here. This is not a dude who is just totally averse to taking threes at all. Zion doesn't shoot a lot of threes because he doesn't need to. But if the defense is giving him 5, 6, 7 feet, he's going to pull. He's a 36% shooter. So they're like, that's just silly game planning. And then of course, the other reason they're not going to do that is because you don't want Zion to get 2, 3 steps going towards the basket, because then it's shot. He's going to hit you. You're going to take his shoulder into your chest, and then like your McCall bridges and your fucking chest cavity is just going to explode. One of your lungs is going to collapse, and you're not going to be able to defend him anymore because you're just simply not built that way. But one of the things that makes New Orleans so lethal, and this is the part that has really given people a lot of optimism in regards to them being contenders. And I'm gonna say it, man. I don't have a lot of hot takes. I'm usually more conservative when it comes to calling people contenders or overrating a lot of teams. I think that New Orleans has a chance to represent the Western Conference in the finals. They have the talent. They have virtually no holes on it. They have no holes in any aspect of their game. The only critique that I was able to generate, the only thing that I saw that gave me a little bit of pause, a little bit of reticence when it comes to anointing them contenders, are their turnovers. So we're on Basketball Reference here, and we're just going to look. Field goal percentage, 5th overall. 3-point percentage, 10th overall. Free throw percentage, 13th overall. They get a shit ton of twos. They don't take that many threes, but they're still hyper efficient. They attack the glass on both sides of the ball, actually. They're fantastic passers. They don't block a lot of shots, but I think that's more of a philosophical thing than an ability thing. But the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause is the turnovers. 15 a game is about average. And even then, it's not something that I'm too worried about. I feel they're only like that because they only commit a lot of turnovers because they do play with a relatively quick pace. They're a little bit above average. They are also a young team, and that is my only other critique of them. If they don't perform well in the postseason, it will not be because of talent. It will not be because of coaching. It will be simply because they are too young. This is a young core. It once again, we go back to basketball reference. Outside of CJ McCollum and outside of Jonas Valanciunas, and I'll say Larry Nance Jr. as well, so many of their rotational guys are super young. Zion's 22. BI is 25. Trey Murphy III is 22. Herb Jones is 24. Najee Marshall, 25. Jose Alvarado, 24. Dyson Daniels, who's been getting a lot of run lately, only 19. This team is super young. Maybe not super young. This team is on the younger side. And additionally, they don't have that much playoff experience, which when it comes to succeeding in the playoffs is as necessary as anything else. If you look at Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, who are just coming off of an NBA Finals appearance, that was Tatum's, I think, fifth trip to the postseason, and it took him two or three to like figure out just how different playing in the postseason is. That is the only thing I'm worried about with them is that I don't think they'll be able to overcome their youth right away. But also, the Western Conference is so wide open that like that almost doesn't matter. I mean, you have Golden State, who's toward the bottom. They're like Golden State's kind of mid right now. They have been playing better of late, which is great to see. But like New Orleans, Memphis, also young. Denver, kind of young. And then Phoenix is definitely a more seasoned team, but they have their own issues. Like there really is no team in the Western Conference that is jumping out to me that is not the New Orleans Pelicans. Of course, I still feel that Golden State should be the favorite just because they have everything. They have the talent, they have the coaching, and they have the experience. But when it comes to New Orleans being contenders, I don't I don't see a good enough reason for me to not believe that they can contend, especially when you look at the way that their roster is constructed. They have tremendous depth, right? They have legitimately 11 guys they can play when they're fully healthy. They're without their two of their best players, okay? They're without their second best player and without their best defender, and they're still going 9 people deep. You got CJ, Zion, Trey Murphy, who I just mentioned. Jonas Valanciunas as well is huge because he is a big body for them, and he's tough to match up against. He's big, he's brooding, he's great on the glass. He's got a great touch in the post as well. So there is a lot of viability that this offense has all the time. Then you have Larry Nance Jr. coming off the bench, great defender. Trey Murphy, shooter. Like they have all these guys. Devontae Graham, another shooter. Jose Alvarado, good shooter, pesky defender, not the biggest guy, but all of these dudes do what they're supposed to do. They fit so well alongside one another. And again, their ability to space the floor only creates more driving lanes for Zion, only creates more isolation opportunities for BI. I'm just so when I first heard the first mention I heard of the New Orleans Pelicans being contenders was on the Old Man and the Three. JJ Redick was talking about it. And I'm like, I didn't immediately swat that point down because I knew that New Orleans had been playing well. I didn't recognize that they were this good. Okay. Like legitimately an elite team. I knew they had the potential to do it, but when you mix that with the youth, it can go either way. And especially also Willie Green is still a relatively young coach. And then I started going through the numbers, looking at this roster, and when you talk about contenders, you talk about teams that rebound well, that defend well, that have depth, and New Orleans has all of that. And also, they've got Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram as their 1-2, with CJ McCollum as their third. Like, this is a legitimately dangerous team, and I'm sold. I'm sold on them, man. Like, I want to see this team in the playoffs again. They're so much fun. They're so much fun. They're so much fun, but have you seen the New Orleans Pelicans? They're so much fun to watch. God, fucking turned into a Canadian there for a second. God damn. My parents came back from Canada recently, and they brought us like a whole bunch of treats like chocolates, nougat, Canadian whiskey, and I guess I'm just becoming. I've become a Canadian just by absorbing all of that shit into my bloodstream. But yeah, I want to see this team in the playoffs. They are legitimately good, and I think I'm sold on them.